So we're having this discussion again.
Beast is getting canceled again.
And if you don't know, Mr. Beast is in some hot water because he built 100.
He built 100 wells in Africa. That's why people are angry. Seriously.
Wells.
So, just to be crystal clear, I am firmly on the side that a charity like this is bad. And when these two absolute geniuses start giving their opinions, why this kind of charity is so good, blah, 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 I'm gonna start actually explaining what charity is. Because the problem with charity is very simple. Most people have absolutely no clue what charity actually is, how it functions, or what it does. People think and understand of charity on a very, very surface level where it's just, oh, we're gonna save the world, and that's pretty much all that charity does. But the reality is, charity has so many downsides, it's honestly not even funny. And probably I'm gonna flip a lot of you in thinking that all charity is good. Now, granted, there are still charities that are good, but most charities are sadly not good. And, well, I'm gonna start explaining probably soon.
In Africa. But I have a bigger theory. He's not actually in hot water. And the bigger problem we have to talk about today is dog shit journalism. But first, let's get through the context. If you didn't see Mr. Beast's latest upload, he said it took him 8 months of preparation to make and a whole lot of money, but he did what the title says.
This is 8 months of preparation to do this, by the way? That doesn't seem a lot of time, so that already is a red flag for me. Drilling 100 wells in only 8 months? That is illegal speed, okay?
The first of 100 wells we're gonna build in this video.
Okay.
Oh, water!
There it is.
And then he did it. I mean, I didn't go look at the wells myself personally, but I'm pretty sure
I would
he's not.
assume that he probably did it.
Fine.
Oh, he definitely did it. That's not even a question, okay? He's not gonna fake doing that, right? Because people are gonna make videos. I went to Mr. Beast's well.
That'd be pretty bad to lie about. He made 100 wells.
Yeah.
Families will come together.
And people were happy because then they had access to clean water. Good. Yeah. That's a good thing. I feel
nice.
like, you know.
So, first of all, this is a misconception already, okay? And there's a lot of misconceptions like this. Those families already had access to clean drinking water, okay? If those families didn't have access to clean drinking water, they wouldn't be there in the first place. They would have died again. Mr. Beast, first of all, didn't give these families access to clean, safe drinking water. Well, in some situations, probably it's safer. But in the grand scheme of things, Mr. Beast didn't give these families something that they desperately needed. Mr. Beast just gave them ease of access. So that is the fundamentally first thing that's wrong with this whole story.
Yeah.
But admittedly, that's a minor thing, and honestly, I'm just saying that because people misunderstand the spot. That's not even criticism yet of Mr. Beast or any actions. That's just, you know, actually factually correct.
We could all pretty much agree. Good that there are wells where there were not wells before. Technically, I think they're not called wells anymore. They're like boring holes. I don't know.
No, it's a well.
I'm not a zoologist, but there it is.
Some liberal idiots who want to pretend that Africa is not poor and shit are trying to calling it watering holes or watering tunnels or whatever. No, they're wells.
And Mr. Beast himself, right before this video came out, said, "I already know."
Yeah, he preempted this, bro. Like, it's like he precasted his like defensive spell against this. Like after the blindness video, he was ready.
I haven't watched the blindness video, but that's not technically charity, so I'm okay with that one. But this, yeah, obviously. So, also, I want to make one thing also crystal clear. A lot of the people who have arguments against this charity being bad, their arguments are as stupid as they come, okay? Their arguments start and end with, oh, he didn't even name the country that he was in. Africa is not just one singular place. He was in a country. No. Those arguments are as stupid as the average argument for why charity is good, by the way. So, yeah, that's not an argument against charity. That's just you blatantly telling everyone that you're stupid.
I'm going to get canceled because I uploaded a video helping people, and to be 100% clear, I don't care. I'm always going to use my channel to help people and try to inspire my audience to do the same, and then smiling face with open...
Okay, do the same. Also, this statement is very problematic. Okay? So, we have Mr. Beast where he did the thing, for example, where he went in the supermarket and said, hey, I'm buying all of your groceries for free. And what did happen then? Well, people started fighting because they wanted the good free shit, right? And then what we have later on after that is, well, people are doing it as a prank. They're just going in Walmarts and saying, Mr. Beast is here and he's gonna get your free groceries. And then a bunch of people are unhappy, a bunch of people are disappointed, and there's a whole shebanza. But I understand that some of you are probably saying, well, that's not Mr. Beast's fault. Okay, I hear you. So, if I build a dam, and the result of that dam is that up the dam, like 2 or 3 villages get flooded, I'm not responsible, right? Because I just built a dam. It has absolutely nothing to do with me that the fact that those villages are just now flooded because I built a dam, right? Because that's the logic. Without Mr. Beast doing that in the first place, there would not be situations where people in America are going into Walmart speakers and saying, Mr. Beast is here, now you can get free stuff, and then a lot of problem and people get injured and whatnot happen. Without him, that would have never happened in the first place. But he did that. Because Mr. Beast thinks of a good video idea, but this is a generally problem with Mr. Beast. He makes a video idea that's technically good and fun and interesting, but he does not care or think about the long-term repercussions. For example, like this. If he probably knew that people are gonna do that constantly in like supermarkets and Walmarts all over America and say, Mr. Beast is here, get your free stuff, he would have probably never done the video in the first place. So, statements like this are problematic.
Open mouth and also cold sweat emoji attached to it. And then, just like he predicted, Mr. Beast got canceled.
There it is.
Yahoo News reports, while American YouTuber Mr. Beast's goal was to provide clean drinking water for 500,000 people, activists say his actions shame the Kenyan government and help perpetuate the stereotype that, quote, Africa's dependent on handouts.
Okay, so the people who are doing the Africa's dependent on handouts are idiots, but at the same time, they're completely right. Okay, another example, because I'm going to use examples here. There's no point in me just taking you through the steps why. Well, I'm going to use it probably at some points. But for now, just examples so you start to understand what's going on here. Now imagine, you're doing bad things. Let's say you are a hard R-ist. You know, you do those type of bad things. Now imagine, you just do that. And then some guy comes along and says, hey, here's $1,000. Stop doing that. And you're like, free money. Okay. And you continue doing it. Okay? And then it happens again and again and again. Because a lot of these charities just are giving handouts. That is the thing. That is one of the biggest problems of charities. They are handouts. And handouts don't fix the problem. They alleviate it. And they make people not want to change. Because again, why would the hard R-ist change if he's getting given now free money and he can continue doing what he was doing in the way that he was doing? Now, it's a little bit of an extremer example because, law and whatnot. But you kind of get the point, right? If you're getting rewarded for your behavior with money, why would you stop your behavior? If you stop it, you're not gonna get free money. And this is, by the way, a thing that goes both sides. It's not only that there's actually situations in Africa where countries are intentionally requiring support like this so they don't actually have to deal with their own country problems, that some guy like Mr. Beast is just gonna come and say, hey, I'm gonna feed this village for the month. And the government's like, great, now we don't have to feed this village for a month. Thank you, Mr. Beast, come again. And guess what? They don't do anything. This is a fundamental truth. Charities create situations where people, governments, don't want to change, because why do they need to change? if someone else is fixing or alleviating their problems. And this example is going to hit home for a lot of Americans, okay? If you like Mr. Beast's Vel charity, then you also probably like the American charities where drug addicts get given free crack pipes, fentanyls, and stuff to inject them with, right? Right? Oh, you don't? But you need to understand, those things are one for one. If you like one, you can't dislike the other. But the other one's a government program. Government welfare is the same thing as charity, by the way, if you haven't noticed. Yeah, starting to see a parallel there. Interesting how that works. But yes, essentially, if you did not know, government welfare programs are literally charity. But instead of being outside of the government, they're now outside of the country, they're inside the country. Okay? So, if you like Mr. B's drilling wells because you like charity, then you must like the idea of people getting crack pipes and, you know, your streets being filled with fentanyl overdosing zombies. You must like that, because this is one for one. Mr. Beast is trying to save lives and make people's lives better, and the government is trying to save the drug addicts' lives and make their experiences better. You can't like one and dislike the other. Either you like both or you dislike both. So this is going to be the first litmus test for a bunch of Americans, especially. If you like one but dislike the other, you can't, because they are exactly one for one the same thing.
I'm sorry, but like in my opinion, I think that if you can get outmaneuvered by a YouTuber from another country, you deserve to be shamed. I bet the people that work at the government there.
This is a completely moronic, idiotic misrepresentation of understanding of anything. Do you think the Kenyan government does not have other things to do? Do you think people who already have drinking water, but it's like a 1 kilometer walk away from it, are in the highest tier of priority of what needs to be done? No! No! Absolutely no. There's way more important things than this to be done in Kenya. 100%. There's a million things probably more important than that to be done in Kenya. And then you have people like Asmongold saying, well, their government should have just dealt with it. Their government understands one fundamental truth also here, okay? These people were not starving. These people were doing fine. Do you know? This is going to be slightly statistical, but this is going to be so simple any idiot will be able to understand this, okay? Countries with low development indexes have more children. Essentially, the poorer the country is, the more kids that you got. The poorer the average family is, the more kids you got. And you know what happens when you just give food to these places? Well, they're just going to have more kids. That is the outcome. What happens here? They just get more kids. So Mr. Beast made a Vel. He probably has alleviated the problems of these people for a little bit, but then they're gonna have more kids. Because this is literally what poorer countries just do. This is how it functions. This is an undeniable scientific fact that's documented in many, many places well over. Mr. Beast just created a baby boom, essentially, in those 100 villages in Kenya. And guess what? At some point, the birth rate is going to be so high, they are going to have a food shortage again. Now, maybe it's not going to be water, maybe it's going to be something else. But congratulations, Mr. Beast drilled well. Well, you now just have more starving people, more people in poverty, more problems. Drilling the well didn't solve a single fundamental issue that these people had. You're starting to notice the problem here, right? Essentially, he tries to do good, but after a couple of years, he's gonna just make more misery because there's now more mouths that need feeding. AKA, the Kenyan government now has more problems to deal with because without Mr. Beast's magical intervention, there would be less mouths to feed. And now there's bigger problems in their country. Also, this is, by the way, this governmental destabilization. Kenya has all the rights to actually name Mr. Beast a wanted criminal because of attempts to destabilize the government. Because the reality also is, well, it's true, the Kenyan government is not great. It's shit, right? Let's be completely real here. Well, how do you think the people of Kenya are feeling now, hearing that some kind of big shot from America, who's not even a business owner, just a millionaire, came in and drilled wells where people wanted them because getting water was tiresome because they needed to walk like 2 or 3 miles or something previously? Yeah, they're gonna be pissed at the government. Some of them are gonna be really pissed at the government. For some, it may even be the final straw, and they start creating problems. They start creating dissident situations and things like that. You see, again, there are very, very bad outcomes. And by the way, I'm just scratching the surface. I'm just picking the most relatable and hopefully most understandable things to explain to people here. But there are tons of more problems. We haven't even begun to talk about the issues of poverty tourism in Africa, which Americans, especially rich liberals, love. That's an absolute banger. And by the way, the whole concept of charities in general, well, charities get paid. The leaders of those charities get paid in above the top 10% of income in America, by the way. Do you think those people want those charities to really fix those issues? No. Absolutely no. Because if they fix those issues, they're out of the job. Do you honestly think the American government gave crack pipes to those druggies just because they're nice people? No. No. Statistically speaking, by the way, the homelessness and poverty problem in America is almost should not exist, because those parts of the government are receiving extraordinary sums of money, and the people leading those things are getting paid $300+ a year doing those things. Do you honestly think these people who are living such luxurious lives are going to try to solve the problem so they can now be jobless? Of course not. Of course not. They don't want to solve the issues. They want you to give them more money so their pay increases. You see, you're starting to get like 1 + 1 here. And this is the problem with Mr. Beast's actions in a lot of cases. They have very, very real negative consequences. Not even in the long term, but the short term. The real negative consequence in with the 100 wells in Kenya is there's probably some place that really is far away, that doesn't have access to any reasonable source of drinking water that's pure, and is probably like 10 kilometers away, or 20, right? And you know what's going to happen there because of that well? Congratulations. In 5 years, when we look back at these 100 wells, Mr. Beast is going to 100% be responsible for creating a waterlord. Okay? Because those things are also real, by the way. Yeah. And that's how you create them. Because someone who's just gonna have enough power to take over that village and force everyone to pay for using the water or something. And he's gonna just... Mr. Beast probably has created a waterlord with these 100 wells. Which is probably the worst case scenario. But you know, that we will see in like 5 or 10 years.
There are morons. Because if they weren't morons, those people would have had the wells and this would have never happened in the first place. Well, they definitely deserve to be shamed. It's run by a bunch of fucking clowns.
Same
How
as
do you
the
know
US
that?
government.
It's because they don't have any water. Of course they're clowns.
Again, you see, this is just a ridiculous simplification of the situation. And people buy this. People buy this because they don't know better. They're just uneducated. They don't understand. They just donate 5 cents to the charity at their local supermarket. They don't know better. 99% of people in the world have no idea how charities function outside of the pretty words that they say on top. And that's just the surface.
Whoa, pretty scathing article here from Yahoo
Ooh.
News, and it got picked up by a couple of people. This is ridiculous. The real thing that makes these activists mad is that Mr. Beast solved the problem for little money and little time, showing that everything's corrupt. And Colin said,
Yeah, the fact that he solved this in 9 months is, by the way, super sus. There is no way you can... Do you think Kenya doesn't have drilling permits and shit? Bruh. There is illegal money flowing into the economy 100%. And Mr. Beast probably doesn't know it's even illegal. Okay? There's no way you get it done in 9 months. Absolutely no shot.
report, very journalistically, activists are upset at YouTuber Mr. Beast for building 100 wells across Africa. And then said, with a direct quote here, they're actually mad because Mr. Beast was a white male solving the problem. Quote, I've been doing this for 15 years, but we've been struggling to continue the work because of fundraising, awareness, advocacy. That all takes work.
Well, yeah, but those are just liberal idiots. Who cares about their opinions?
Says the founder of Face Africa. And then overnight, this person comes along who happens to be a white male figure, and then he's quoting that person.
And then they solve the problem. Yeah, of course, right? But, like, for them, again, it has nothing to do with... And this is one thing you have to keep in mind, is that there are a lot of people on the internet that are actually racist. I know. It's not like, oh, I'm going to say the bad word. Ha-ha. Oh, remember this Dave Chappelle?
I honestly don't even know what racism has to do with any of this.
Joke. Ha-ha. No. They're actually racist. I don't know why this is such a shock to everybody.
I don't know why you're bringing it up.
And then Mr. B and then quoted the Mr. Beast getting canceled. So maybe it's true. All right, maybe it's not dog shit journalism. Maybe Mr. Beast is getting canceled because he's a white man who came in and solved this issue of no access.
I think that is 100% why some people don't like it. Absolutely.
Probably.
I don't think these people are a majority.
But this is just an oversimplification. It has nothing to do with racism. There are Africans who actually want Africa to be for Africa. Can you imagine that? Yeah, there are tons of Africans who actually do have issues with, random people like Mr. Beast just coming in their America and then just saying, hey, this is how you're gonna live. They're not racist for that, by the way. I think it's completely normal for Africans to say, yeah, you know what, we kind of want Africa for us, ourselves. Okay? That's quite normal.
I don't even think they're a minority. I think this is like a this is like a percentage of 1%. Like half of 1% of people think this. This is an extremely small amount of people that are actually of this mindset, but they are very loud. And whenever one of them does something, everybody hears about it because of how fucking ridiculous it is.
Just to water for.
Also, again, this is a liberal talking point, by the way, that I don't know how he can misrepresent these points so absolutely extremely. And by the way, I'm just waiting for some Asmongold stupid fan to say, you're just not listening to what Asmongold's saying, that's why you don't understand it. Bruh, Asmongold says nothing so much. He lets you fill in the blanks. If we find something that Asmongold is gonna be vague about, and I say, hey, explain to me what he said, you idiots would be fighting in the comments because there would be literally 200 different opinions from 200 different people. Because he just lets you fill in the blanks and you're so stupid that you don't even understand that he hasn't said anything concrete. And you're just filling in the blank thinking that you understand what he's saying. Idiots.
500,000 people, which I think we could all shake firm hands about and say, that's dumb. I think it's okay. I think if he's able to use his money and his resources to help people, I don't give a shit if he is white. Or if he is 6'3", or if he does occasionally show pictures of himself shirtless, looking quite ripped, but holding his balls somewhat hard. I have no problem with that because the good he is doing is more important.
What is this? Like, who gives a fuck about?
So, how about Mr. Beast builds a 5G tower in Ludwig's, I don't know, house location in his house, right next to his house, like this close to it. Is he gonna be happy then? Or is he gonna say, hey, don't build that 5G tower here? But why? I'm giving internet to the people. It's such a good thing. You see why these arguments are stupid? Doing a good thing without being asked, does this thing even need to be done to the people you're gonna do it to, is not really the greatest thing to be done. Again, it's like, are you gonna complain, Ludwig, if Mr. Beast tries to build a 5G tower in your house? Probably, but why? It's such a good thing. Stupid arguments.
This. Oh my god.
But that's not what actually happened.
Yeah.
Almost none of this happened. If we actually take a look at the Yahoo article, a lot of the first people quoted in this are just supporting Mr. Beast. In fact, this person right here,
It's actually really impressive to me how people quote articles. Do you remember that one thing about how somebody
Mainstream news being shit. Wow. Man, we must be living in a time.
was getting banned on like Twitter? And then I looked at the article, and then the article said it wasn't happening. It's actually really scary, isn't it? That you have...
That has been happening for, I don't know, 10 plus years at this point. How many years? If you want to know if an article is truthful, by the way, about anything wild, just scroll down to the very bottom and read the last paragraph, because that's when they usually add that this is pure fiction, or that our source is not real, or whatever type of stupidity they're trying to cover up. That the last paragraph is usually where they write it in.
Have this many people that are like reading this stuff and saying these things, and it's just not even fucking true. People who embezzled relief funds who are getting mad at Mr. Beast. Well, here's the truth, right? Is that you have a lot of these people, and they're just...
We actually have no idea how the money worked when Mr. Beast did that. Again, 9 months to drill 100 wells, that's kind of fucking insane. Also, by the way, is he lying about this? Are the wells like, I don't know, 100 meters from each other, maybe? Over to the next village? I don't know how this works. But you need to understand, okay? Africa, Kenya is a big place, okay? It's not exactly a one-day walk until the other side of the country, right? So, yeah. Where did these wells get drilled? That in 90 days, he got to film 90 of those things. Because that is crazy. He must have spent more than, I don't know, 100 million to do this with so many. Something is just fishy there from the amount of time it only took him to do it. There's something very off with that.
Writing articles to make people mad. Like, I was so happy whenever I saw that Elon Musk was getting rid of people getting money for making misleading posts. Like, I'm so sick of this fucking meta where spreading misinformation makes a lot of money because everybody talks about the post that's misinformation. It is actually such a bad meta. There needs to be a new patch. And it's scary how many people just buy into it without even thinking at all.
Obviously.
is a prominent activist and said every 5 years we get elected members of parliament and senators in Kenya a car that's worth $33,000, but we don't have money to drill boreholes for our people. So that just more so.
Yes, this is how it works. Yes, in every country, Kenya's not special, dude. In the U.S., it's probably like two extra zeros.
Is every 5 years they give a newly elected member of
and a trip to Epstein's Island.
A car? Like, this is a $33,000 car. Like, this is nothing. Like, this is not a problem. This is not the reason why they're not making the holes.
Again, this is just general stupidity shining through, okay? This is like Americans thinking that Chinese shit is cheap because Chinese labor is cheap. Chinese labor is not cheap. The Chinese yuan, is it yuan or is that or is that Japan? I don't know. Whatever their stupid currency is, their currency is cheap compared to the American currency. if the American currency collapsed overnight and now the Chinese currency was 10 times more expensive than the American currency, that cheap stuff that you're buying from China suddenly is 4 times more expensive and no longer cheap. Because it's not cheap labor, it's the difference in currencies. 33K is the equivalent of 3 mil in a... No, it's actually even probably more. It's probably drastically more, by the way. Like, 33K in Kenya is like serious luxury in America. He doesn't understand this. You could actually blame this to be corruption, and that's why the government doesn't have enough funds to do things properly. Because this is literally multiple millions in American dollars just for a car. Again, general stupidity right there.
For every 5 years.
And then
like,
here's
what?
the quote from the activist who called out Mr. Beast.
Okay.
But let's actually look at the quote. Overnight, this person comes along who happens to be a white male figure with a huge platform, and all of a sudden he gets all this attention. It's a little frustrating, but it's also understanding the nature of how the world is.
Well, I think that's not really fair. I think this is just obviously this is soft racism. And so what she's implying here is that how the world is...
Why is it a she? Was there a mention that's a she?
This is the world is racist, and the
Oh, yeah, she praised. Okay, she.
reason why he's getting this attention is because he's white.
Dude, this activist most likely is a white American woman, by the way. He most likely thinks that he's talking about someone black, I guess. I'm not even sure. Again, there's a lot of racism in Africa. Okay, I don't know if you're aware of that, but there's a shit ton of it, by the way. But this has nothing to do with racism in general. Okay.
Well, I think that if somebody else went and built the wells, like, for example...
It's just the fact that Americans can't talk about any issues in the world and not mention racism or homophobia or some kind of something, okay? The whole world doesn't revolve around that.
For example, Akon, right? You guys know the rapper Akon. He was massively helpful with, like, he used a lot of his money to help people in Africa. A lot of people know about this. It's insane.
Yeah,
it's just simply soft racism. It's an implication.
And then she praised Mr. Beast for shining the spotlight on the need for clean water supply, but warned the issue's sustainability. Because what happens is a lot of people come along, they'll build a well, they'll make a borehole, but then it won't be functional in 3 to 5 years, and then they have to go back to unsafe creek water or...
That's also technically true.
Or river water or whatever.
So, like, her criticism is that he hasn't solved this problem for the rest of time, and this is why he...
Yes. That is her criticism, by the way. And you know what? That's a pretty decent criticism. That is not exactly a bad form of criticism. As strange as that may sound. Yes. Going in, alleviating a problem for like a month, and making a video and, you know... saying that you're saving the world and you're a philanthropist, yeah, you know, when you put that all into context, that does sound kind of scummy. Again, he's not because his intent is not to fix problems, okay? Mr. Beast's intent here is not really fixing problems. If he was trying to fix problems, he would invest in village development in general, okay? Not just random wells. He would invest in those things. But he doesn't, because you can't make a good video about it.
He's wrong? I mean, how can he possibly commit to doing this for the rest of his life? I mean, what an insane thing to say. Why can't they deal with it themselves?
Wow, Asmongold is on the roll here. This argument is not about Mr. Beast committing to do this for the rest of his life, you idiot. This argument is about he does it one time, that's fine, but this is a solution only for, you know, a very, very, very short time that doesn't actually do anything at all. It's like it's like a bandage when you need stitches. This is the argument, not that Mr. Beast is not gonna do it again. Like, how do you not understand that?
No, he's helping them. They need at a certain point. This is their That's their...
You can make an argument that it's helpful to take money away from millionaires because they're out of touch, but is that the right thing to do? Probably not. But you can make an argument that that's helpful. Okay? Being helpful does not mean that it's good. Helpful is not the same as... is not synonymous with good.
village. They've got to figure out something. Ask the government to do it. He's doing a...
Why? Again, why would they ask the government to do it if they can just beg Mr. Beast to come again? Why would the government do something that someone else is gonna solve for them? Again, see? This is what I said at the start.
lot already.
A complete misunderstanding of how the world functions.
So yes, that's fair. That's a good concern to throw out there. And if in 5 years all 100 Mr. Beast boreholes are no longer working and all those people have to go back to creeks, we could talk about it at that point. But I wouldn't really call this a scathing activist lambasting Mr. Beast. The only...
I think that this is negative. It's absolutely negative. It has...
Yeah, well, that's the only part that we agree on. This is intended to be negative. You can't even argue with that.
soft racism in it, and the person who wrote it should be ashamed of themselves. They are absolutely criticizing him, and they are absolutely implying that he is the beneficiary of something that is... They are downplaying his actions, implying that he is the beneficiary of something that is bad, and then saying that he's actually not helping their problems because of some far off in the future problem that might happen. It's 100% they're saying that. It's not even a question.
No. Again, fundamentally misunderstanding the point.
Yeah. I'm amazed, like, anybody like that. No, this person's an asshole.
thing that I think would perturb people is the white male figure part of it. Why is race being thrown into it? And that's a whole nother issue with, I think, a lot of people maybe in Kenya being proud and different things going on there. But
I'm sure that the people in the village, I'm sure that they really appreciate you sticking.
Yeah, the people in the village 100% appreciate that Mr. Beast drilled their wells, but I don't think that's what he's gonna say.
Up for them.
Oh no.
Yeah, I'm sure they care about that a lot.
Yeah, obviously, if you're gonna give me money, I'm gonna care about that. If you make my life easier for no reason, I'm gonna care about that. Yeah. Are we breaking really new grounds here and understanding basic things? People get free things. People be happy about it. Is this really breaking new grounds?
as a whole, I don't really find to be an attempt at canceling Mr. Beast. I think it's someone who's just asked their thoughts.
It's definitely an attempt at downplaying what he's doing, and it definitely is, like, I think this person doesn't like Mr. Beast.
I think Asmongold is just sucking off Mr. Beast. Okay, I'm gonna end this video. It's getting boring. But essentially, this is just Asmongold being an absolute loose poos energy, okay? This is like Andrew Tate. When Andrew Tate was at the top of the world, not banned anywhere and whatnot, Asmongold did not say bad things about him. Andrew Tate is the good guy. The moment he got banned, Asmongold instantaneously, I hate him! Yeah. Not 100% flip. Asmongold is never going to say anything bad against Mr. Beast because he just knows that ends poorly because Mr. Beast is big and he can attract enough attention to get the negative attention from Mr. Beast super hardcore fans who are gonna, hate that. So, he's never going to say anything bad in general against Mr. Beast. He's only going to support him because you don't really get big by attacking bigger people. I just find it funny and interesting. That's why I do it personally. But anyway, this was Quizzer Sensei. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already. And have a nice day. Bye-bye.